First, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello, everyone. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now. Thank you for joining us. We do appreciate you tuning in to our live stream, which starts every weekday at 1 p.m. and then goes throughout the afternoon. We also bring you breaking news and updates as those happen here anytime between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. And right now we are talking about the protests that are happening at Portland State, just like universities and colleges all over the country right now in association with the pro-Palestine movement and people who are protesting the war in Gaza in general. Joining us, we have Conor McCarthy, who has been covering this as part of our team that's been down there. And Conor, thank you, for being here right now. I know you're nearby where everything's happening there in Portland State, able to zoom in with us. But you've been down there kind of in the heart of this. And for people that don't know, there is a library that is, from what I understand, occupied by protesters. This has been blocked. This was part of a big press conference yesterday with the police and the university. But you, from what I understand, had a chance to actually go in there. Can you give us the backstory of this and what happened?
Yeah, so after our noon live shot, me and another reporter were able to go inside the main lobby of the library, the entrance to where this barricade is taking place on Portland State University's campus. Now, initially, people in the front said that we could get a tour, but once we got inside, there was hesitation by people who are actually living within the library. Now, what I found interesting once I walked in is that there are tents everywhere and also plywood up against the windows of the lobby. It seems like that the protesters are preparing for potential law enforcement response, kind of barricading those windows. I saw graffiti, spray paint on walls. There's a medic station, and it's unclear if the people running this medic station are actually trained healthcare professionals or if they're just students as well. And there's also a cafeteria where students or alleged students inside can get free food, water, coffee, and so forth. And the reason why I say alleged students, I know the university believes that people inside are part of the student body, but the person I talked to and the other reporter that was with me we talked with, he's not a student at the university. He was telling me that he found meaning in the cause that the PSU student body was rallying behind, so he joined in, and he's now living inside the library with alleged other students. So as we know right now, with at least one person who is not a student, we can't safely say everyone inside the building is part of the PSU student body. There could be more people from the community that have joined in on this and now are living within the library.
Yeah, very interesting that somebody who's openly admitting that they're not a student there at Portland State in there. How many people would you estimate were inside there when you went in?
So we weren't able to see too much. We're pretty much held within the lobby, but within the lobby, there are about 5 or 6 people kind of keeping guard. But according to this individual that we spoke with, who was talking with me and this other reporter, there were about 15 to 20 other students that weren't living in the library, but were studying. He says that the library is open for the student body to come in and continue their coursework. But at the same time, he also told me and this other reporter that, well, we have vetted these people that are allowed to come inside and just do their coursework and can leave. But we've heard from the university that there are anywhere from 50 to 70 people inside the building, but it's unclear how many people are actually living inside the library.
Wow, and so they're saying, again, according to the person that you talked to, that people can, some students can go in and study, which interesting concept. So just to go back to one other thing you mentioned as well. So you said that they seem to have food set up, water set up, and stations along that. So did you get an indication that this seems like this is something that they plan on being there for a while for?
Yes, they plan on being there for a long time. We did ask, what will it take for you guys to vacate the building? And this individual we spoke with says, we won't leave until our demands are met. And he says it could be within 24 hours, 10 days, months. They're prepared to basically camp inside the central library for as long as it takes until either their demands are met or law enforcement comes in and moves them out. But what I'm watching throughout the afternoon, I'm still watching people bring supplies in. More plywood has been brought into the library. There are more people arriving with food, water, and other materials as well. So it seems like they're really building up inside the library at the moment.
Yeah, that was actually my next question is, yeah, where are the supplies coming from? So people are delivering those down there. You're seeing that. Now, when it comes to the other side, as far as the university or the police response, have they commented on these people bringing in supplies and continuing to seemingly barricade the library more?
So right now, what the latest we've heard from police and the university is what was said last night during a joint press conference with the mayor, the district attorney, Portland Police, and the university president. They made it clear that they find what is happening unacceptable. Portland Police Chief Bob Day says that if these students don't leave the building, then they should expect to be arrested for trespassing and so forth. We are aware that there was an executive session held by the Board of Trustees. We legally cannot report on anything that happens in that. That's a private meeting that is protected under Oregon law. But it's still unclear what the university and Portland Police will do in the coming hours in response to this, especially with more and more people coming in and more supplies being brought into the library, as it appears that this camp isn't going anywhere.
One final question, too, just referring to something that you mentioned earlier. The person that you spoke to said they plan on staying there until their demands are met. Do they have like explicitly what the demands are, or is it just the general war ends in Gaza? You know, just to put like a blanket term on it, or was there anything specifically that they wanted?
It was essentially a blanket term to end the war in Gaza, have the university publicly declare a ceasefire or declare that they want a ceasefire in the Gaza Strip. Now, last week, students demanded the university cut ties with Boeing because they claim that the university is indirectly contributing to weapons that are being used by Israel. And Boeing is not only an airplane manufacturer, it's an aerospace company, and they build weapons for the United States military, and it gets donated to Israel and so forth. Now, the university president agreed to pause any gifts, but according to the protesters today, that's not good enough. They want the university to cut any ties with companies that work with Israel. But I also heard a lot of, anti-capitalism and anti-police rhetoric that we've, heard in the past, especially around 2020 during the BLM protests and riots that happened in downtown. So it's definitely an interesting messaging they're trying to get across. The main message, it seems to be a public ceasefire declaration in Gaza, but also there's some stuff lingering from 2020 that is making its way into some of the messaging here that I've come to report on and find out.
Yeah, so a lot happening, and sounds like a lot of different voices coming through on there as well. And just, I guess, for you, what's the general feeling like down there as you're walking around? Are there a lot of people from the community showing up? Is it mostly students? Does the general feeling feel like they also, even on the outside of the library, intend on staying there for a while?
Yeah, so there are people outside that are part of the protest. They've encamped outside as well, protecting the entrance and so forth. We've seen students walk by. I've talked to a couple students off camera, and they say that they support what's going on. They believe what's happening in Gaza in their eyes is not right. They want the university to stand up more and do more about it. But also, there are community members walking by. I did speak to one woman on camera. She didn't want to show her face, but she is Jewish, and she disagrees with what's going on. She says that she personally doesn't feel safe walking around not only PSU at the moment, but around Portland, the way the rhetoric is towards the Jewish community because of the war in Gaza. And she supports what's going on in Gaza in terms of she's on the side of Israel, but she understands the sensitivity of the issue, and she just wants to be there to be a better dialogue and where people can come to the table and there could be less hate, and where she doesn't feel unsafe as a Jewish American walking around in public in the 21st century.
Well, Conor, thank you, very much for sharing what's going on down there and just being there to do that. And of course, there's going to be more reporting from you and the whole team as we go throughout the day and throughout the afternoon, and obviously at the 4 p.m. news as well. So, Conor, thanks for having a minute to talk to us. Really appreciate it.
All right, thanks so much.
And again, for everyone watching, this is Fox 12 Now. This is part of what we get to do when we're live streaming this show, as we get to speak to our reporters who are out there in the field doing this hard work and bringing this news to you as it happens. So that was an update from Conor. We've got more info at kptv.com if you want to follow up on his previous reports. And obviously, we'll have more coming up again throughout the afternoon. We'll await to see what happens there as far as a response from the Portland Police or the Portland State University administration, and we'll bring that to you as soon as we have that as well. So thank you for joining us. That's it for now. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.